Hey, Kaya, you mob. I did a live video on Facebook. I did 3 live videos on this issue. But Facebook keep cutting it out. It says error while loading. I've been cut off while I'm talking, so I'm going to do it on a YouTube and then post the link. So basically what we have is Alan Jones works for 2GB Radio in Sydney. Alan Jones is a media commentator for radio. He's very controversial. He's very racist. And he's in the white supremacy side of things. He speaks on Aboriginal issues with a redneck mentality. And he pretty much approves all the genocidal policies that government put on our people. He's one of the biggest redneckers going in this country. And he's the East Coast version of our WA's Howard Sattler, but 100 times worse. Basically, what I've been trying to get out there is, back in 1973, Alan Jones was forced to resign from the King's School in Sydney. It was a boys' school. Alan Jones was caught perving on the boys in the shower, writing love letters to the boys and having late-night meetings with the boys in his room. There were no charges. And why? Because this was a white man, 1973. The church protects sick people, and I don't understand why the parents didn't have him charged for the crimes against those boys. Was there a payoff or something, or a payout? Did they get money, like hush money or something? Because there's no way that anyone would put their hands on my kids and get away with it. I would murder them straight out or castrate them. So basically what had happened was there was an article done about it, so I seen it on Facebook today. People said this was a few years ago, but I never saw it. I did hear rumours, but I never actually seen anything, probably because I just was so busy then because of native title stuff we've had going on. But, so, Alan Jones speaks about all the issues, all the Aboriginal issues, and he's very, very racist in his mentality. And so basically what I want to say is, shame on 2GB Radio in Sydney for employing a known pedophile. Shame on 2GB Sydney for allowing Alan Jones to have opinions on abuses of child sexual abuse and paedophilia. Shame, because while he's talking about our people, he's a sicko sitting in the chair himself, contradicting and being a hypocrite, and that's wrong. Shame on Sydney 2GB Radio. Is that how you operate? You employ pedophiles? Because that's shame. Like, how do you know he's not watching any of the boys that are coming into the buildings? How do you know he's not watching any of your kids? Like, stuff that, once a pedophile, always a pedophile as far as I'm concerned. You can't rehabilitate that behaviour, no way. Once you got a sick mind, you got a sick mind. A sick mind. So I think that Alan Jones might need a basic card so that he can't access pornography and yawn, because that's what the government did in the Northern Territory. And they might need to send the army in to go and check all those boys, because that's what they did to the Aboriginal people in the Northern Territory. And the Northern Territory intervention was based on lies of one white man, And then you've got Judge Sue Gordon turning around with me on an NITV show saying the army didn't go into Mutijulu, that's all lies. Yet, a few years later, when we done the film Utopia with John Pilger, one of the elders, rest in peace, Mr. Randall, actually said on Utopia, and the army come in and how scared everyone was and how they were talking, and people didn't want their children being investigated because kids shouldn't have to go through that when it's unnecessary. But the government still went ahead. So, that's what they do. So what we have here is a protection of a white pedophile who's allowed to speak about Aboriginal people in the media. He's allowed to speak about childhood sexual abuse, and yet he is a perpetrator himself. Shame on you, 2GB Radio in Sydney. Shame on you. You have hired a known pedophile, man. So that's what you support. You support child sexual abuse. 2GB Radio in Sydney, that's shame. Shame on you. That's what we say. Warra.